Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by the following: IU Health Southern Indiana physicians, primary care and specialty care providers now accepting new patients in Bloomington and throughout South Central Indiana. siphysicians.org, IU Center for Applied Cybersecurity Research, working to improve cybersecurity and provide policy guidance through partnerships with industry, government, and academia.
Smithville Fiber, the Gigacity Company, fiber internet, HD, and digital IPTV in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com.
And by WTIU members. Thank you.
Coming up on Indiana Newsdesk. I-69 will follow State Road 37 as it travels north to Indianapolis.
But it's still going to split the town in two, and you have a lot of your new businesses all along here at 37, Walmart, all the restaurants.
INDOT estimates nearly 400 homes and businesses will be impacted. Ahead, the details of the route, the construction timeline, and the big question, funding for the project. Plus, remembering a jazz legend, David Baker, who passed away over the weekend at the age of 84.
He really meant and was concerned about the education of these students and that they have the best ability to have what they've always said they've wanted, a life in music.
Plus, in our History Through Headlines segment, we go back to 1925 when an unimaginable weather pattern spawned devastating tornadoes that killed hundreds in Indiana. Those stories, plus the latest news headlines from across the state, right now on Indiana Newsdesk. Welcome to Indiana Newsdesk. I'm Joe Wren. Well, the final leg of I-69 connecting Martinsville to Indianapolis is far from being complete, but preparation is in full swing. 5 proposed routes for Section 6 left Mooresville residents with mixed emotions. Those routes have now been narrowed down to 1. Lindsay Wright has more details.
Thanks, Joe. INDOT recommended this week that the route following State Road 37 be selected for the final stretch of I-69 to Indianapolis. While the overwhelming majority of public comments were in favor of that route, not everyone is happy.
I am pleased to announce today that the State Road 37 corridor has been identified as the reasonable alternative for building I-69 between Martinsville and Indianapolis.
Nearly 1,000 comments from the public and an in-depth analysis from the Indiana Department of Transportation led officials to their decision, a decision leaving the majority of Hoosiers along the potential routes breathing a sigh of relief.
There was overwhelming support for 37. You can, just kind of look at a map and see that it makes sense.
Employees of the Link Observatory Space and Science Institute in Mooresville were among the supporters of the 37 route. Another path INDOT considered, alternative Route B, would have crossed State Road 67 and ultimately rendered their observatory useless due to light pollution. Now observatory officials don't have to worry about the impacts of Section 6, but other businesses and homeowners do. Indy's Family Restaurant sits along 37 in Martinsville and could be one of the nearly 100 businesses forced to relocate due to the I-69 expansion. Other ongoing construction projects are already taking a toll on the locally owned business.
When that traffic's backed up, a lot of people don't want to get off the highway and stop and get something to eat after they've been sitting in traffic for a while.
The owner of the building is already considering buying new property on the other side of 37, which Indy's could eventually move to. Although the chosen route will mean the potential relocation of 279 homes, INDOT officials say State Road 37 generates the best return on investment in a variety of factors. The route will reduce crashes and travel times. It will also increase wages and an estimated 4,600 permanent jobs. INDOT officials say they plan to use as much of the existing state road as possible, but nothing is set in stone just yet. The interstate's path could shift east or west by 400 feet in order to lessen the environmental and human impacts. I-69 from Evansville to just south of Bloomington opened in December. The stretch from Bloomington to Martinsville is under construction and set to open this year, and construction for the final section is expected to begin in 2020.
And Lindsay Wright joins us now to discuss a little bit more. So they have a route, but now what's next?
Yeah, so the fact that they picked and singled out a route, it's a significant step in the process. Now, state officials will work with local officials and they'll work with residents. They want to create a mutually beneficial outcome as much as possible anyway. And so now they're going to get more detailed. Since they have a route picked out, they're going to look at exactly where they want it to be laid. They want to use as much of the existing 37 as possible, but it might shift a little bit because they want to, create as little impact as possible. They're also expecting to have a draft of an environmental impact statement done by the first quarter of 2018.
So last we heard, funding still wasn't secured. Is that still the case?
The development side of the process has been funded. So that's design, the environmental process, but the construction side, that has yet to be secured. But construction isn't going to start until 2020. So officials are confident that they can figure out the best way to identify that source for funding.
You mentioned public opinion is crucial to this. Is this still important in the future too?
It's going to remain important. INDOT is holding 2 public meetings coming up in the next week, one on April 4th at Perry Meridian High School and one on the 5th at Martinsville High School. People will be able to comment on the documents and the reports. They'll be able to ask questions, they'll raise concerns, and more meetings will be planned in the future as this process continues.
All right, still a long ways to go. Thanks, Lindsay. Now for headlines, we go over to Barbara Brozier, who has the latest on this week's top stories.
Thanks, Joe. Purdue University scientists are the first to map the physical structure of the Zika virus. The team has determined the structure of that virus and identified the regions where it differs from other similar viruses, including West Nile and yellow fever. By understanding more about what the virus looks like, scientists can now better pinpoint its vulnerabilities and potentially create a vaccine. The state will have to continue to provide funding to refugee resettlement organizations while the legal battle over money for resettlement continues. Governor Mike Pence in December suspended state funding for resettlement groups such as Exodus Immigration. Exodus won a lawsuit to block Pence's move, and the state is appealing that decision. Pence asked the judge to halt the effects of her ruling until the appeals court could render its decision. The judge denied that request. The federal appeals court hasn't announced a timetable to hear the state's appeal. The man accused of raping and killing 1-year-old Shaylin Ammerman pleaded not guilty this week. Kyle Parker faces several felony counts, including rape, murder, strangulation, and child molestation.
I'm standing in front of 5 cameras and I can barely keep my composure.
It's a case that's hard for seasoned prosecutors and law enforcement to talk about. The medical examiner who performed Shaylin Ammerman's autopsy called it the worst case of sexual trauma she's seen in her career. Kyle Parker appeared in Owen County Court via video conferencing this week to face the charges. If convicted, he could face decades in prison or even the death penalty.
At this point, we're not going to make an emotional determination regarding the death penalty or life without parole request. We have a meeting scheduled next week with my law enforcement officers and my deputy prosecutor that will try this case with me.
That decision could come in the next couple of months. Parker could go to trial as early as August.
Now, in order to be eligible for the death penalty, a case has to meet at least one of 18 criteria established by the General Assembly. The Shaylin Ammerman case does qualify. If the county decides to pursue the death penalty, experts say it won't be cheap.
The cost is borne primarily by a county. So some small counties in Indiana have had to raise taxes, have had to cut money from other funds for roads and things because pursuing a death sentence can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars.
The number of death penalty requests in the state has dropped to an average of just 2 per year. Legal experts say the cost plays a role and more prosecutors are pursuing life without parole sentences. For the first time in nearly 3 years, personalized license plates are available in Indiana. A class action lawsuit spurred the BMV to shut down the entire personalized license plate program in 2013. The Indiana Supreme Court ruled in favor of the BMV, and with no changes to the approval process, the program reopened today. Governor Pence officially dedicated the Wakeman Clinic at Camp Atterbury this week in a ceremony attended by high-ranking military officials. Much of the focus of the dedication was on the importance of mental health among the nation's veterans, in addition to their physical health.
Abraham Lincoln said, "We must care for him who shall have borne the battle." And that's what today is really all about. Because I can tell you that, that as your governor and as a member of a military family, I know that the scars that our veterans bear are not all physical.
The clinic currently offers urgent care services, and plans are in the works to eventually staff the clinic with eye and ear doctors. A pilot program focused on improving the care of long-term nursing home residents is getting money to expand. The Optimistic program has been successful at reducing unnecessary patient transfers from nursing homes to hospitals. Research shows moving frail patients to hospitals for treatment can negatively impact their health and be costly. The expanded program will add incentives for nursing homes that care for sick patients in-house rather than transferring them to a hospital.
If a long-stay nursing home resident, and they're defining that as greater than 100 days in the building, becomes sick with any one of the 6 most common medical conditions, and a physician or nurse practitioner or physician assistant certifies that the patient has that condition, then the nursing facility can draw down a new payment from Medicare for a 7-day benefit period.
And they would use that money to pay for a higher level of care at the nursing home. Right now, nursing homes can only get that higher payment if they transfer the patient to the hospital and the patient is hospitalized for a minimum of 3 days before returning to the nursing home. Low exam scores are threatening 5 nursing programs in Indiana. All of the schools are for-profit institutions. The State Board of Nursing might shut down the schools because students have been performing so poorly on license exams. Over the past 4 years, the nursing associate's degree pass rate is around 2/3 of the pass rate at public institutions. Indiana is receiving more than $3 million from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention to help reduce opioid overdose deaths. The money will be used to upgrade the state's drug monitoring program and improve how doctors prescribe drugs. Counties will soon receive road funding money that lawmakers approved this session. The total to be distributed next month is more than $400 million coming from local tax reserves. The next substantial portion of funding will come at the end of the summer. The full amount, though, will not be available until next year. A Chinese student is continuing the fight to free her father from a life sentence in prison that she says is unfair. Elam Toti is charged with advocating for separatism of a minority group in China. As J.D. Gray reports, his daughter has been speaking out against the charges from right here in Indiana.
Jahar Elam is a student at Ivy Tech and Indiana University. She spoke about her ongoing efforts to secure her father's release at Ivy Tech in Bloomington.
If he can come back, or we can talk, I will be, just one sentence can cover everything. I miss you. I think this will be the only thing that I really want to say to him.
In the 2 years since they were separated, Ilham spoke to Congress, wrote an op-ed for the New York Times, and published a book about trying to get her father out of prison. Ilham says she hopes to visit her family one day, but she worries her activism puts her at risk.
I can go back, but I don't think I will have a good result there. Yeah, I think maybe the same thing happened to my father might happen to me.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm J.D. Gray.
If you're planning to vote in this year's primary, time is running out to register. The deadline is Monday. Indiana's primary is Tuesday, May 3rd. Voter registration can be submitted online through the Secretary of State's website. You can also do it in person at the BMV or at your county clerk's office. And Joe, after the primary election, voter registration will reopen for the general election in May.
Okay, it's right around the corner, isn't it?
It'll be here before we know it.
Thanks, Barbara. Coming up next on Indiana Newsdesk. Indiana is mourning the death of jazz pioneer David Baker. We'll take a look at the life and legacy of a man who lived a big life and brought up a generation of jazz professionals. And in our History Through Headlines segment, we'll take a look at the tri-state tornado, the largest tornado of all time. It ripped through southern Indiana in 1925, and you may be surprised to find out just how far the tornado traveled to get here. These stories and more right here on Indiana Newsdesk.
We are a nation of explorers. We seek new ways of living, of thinking, and of expressing ourselves. We take risks, we learn from experience, and we keep moving forward. That's why we encourage and celebrate the explorer in all of us.
$10,000.
15? 15, you think?
20, 21,000?
600.
20. 18.5.
24.
It's at least 40.
Look at it.
4,500,000.
650.
20.
650.
This textile would be worth about $500,000.
$500,000?
No way.
I knew it. It's just a blanket.
Laying on the back of a chair. Well, sir, you have a national treasure. Wow. A national treasure. Congratulations. I can't believe this.
Welcome back to Indiana Newsdesk. Award-winning composer, educator, and writer David Baker is being remembered for his dedication to jazz music. As Sarah Whitmire reports, Baker died Saturday in Bloomington, Indiana, where he taught for nearly half a century.
There goes the neighborhood.
David Baker didn't come from a musical family, but he was certainly a product of his environment.
That people tend to excel in the areas which are open to them, so that at that time a black was expected to play religious music, rhythm and blues, rock and roll, or jazz.
Born December 21st, 1931, David Baker grew up in Indianapolis when it was heavily segregated. He and all of his friends went to the all-black Crispus Attucks High School. It was a close-knit community, not just inside the school, but also in the neighborhoods where black families were concentrated at the time.
And so Indiana Avenue kind of became a focal point for cultural activity, particularly of activity of the sort of jazz and music, and I suppose art and poetry, much like what would have been happening in Harlem with the Harlem Renaissance.
Dozens of businesses, clubs, and entertainment venues dotted the area.
So they were in high school, but they couldn't get into the clubs, but they wanted to. They wanted to listen and jam, and their teachers were there. You know, they often tell this story that the teacher was playing pool, and if you had a question, you just walk in and say, hey, how does this fingering go, or how do I...
Baker had dreams of becoming a trombone player in the orchestra. He attended Indiana University, earning his undergraduate and graduate degrees in music education.
I thought playing the trombone, since that came easy for me, and I had won the New Star Poll in 1962, I think it was. And I thought, boy, I'm on my way. But a higher power said, not that way, though.
Baker was playing with the George Russell Sextet in the late 1950s when a jaw injury forced him to abandon the trombone. He tried switching to the piano.
So for 1 year, I practiced piano 8 hours a day, only to discover that piano was an unforgiving instrument and it wanted nothing to do with me. I played bass for about a year or 2 years, and my band teacher, Russell Brown, said to me, David, that instrument's not going to challenge you enough. So he went out to a pawn shop and bought a $15 cello and put it together and gave me the cello. And I, jokingly, of course, until the day he died, I would say, Mr. Brown, how could you do that to me? You said I was one of your favorite students, and you would start me on cello at 34 years old.
Baker liked to laugh and tell that story, but ultimately he said everything that happened was God's way of putting him on the path he needed to be on. Not long after switching to the cello, Baker got a call from the dean of Indiana University's School of Music, inviting him to come back to his alma mater and start a jazz studies program.
He told stories and often about how he was in meetings and people just shut the door and said, we don't want this jazz in here. It was kind of looked down upon, meaning, can you really teach that? Can you evaluate it? Do they learn as much as in other academic settings? So he sort of had to prove to the classical oriented academia that this is possible. And also, he was the only black faculty at that time, so that's a big challenge.
Baker would have to prove himself and prove that jazz could be taught in an academic setting.
He answered the question, what is the study of jazz? By saying, it's about style and about repertoire. It's not about your technical handling of the instrument. Therefore, all the jazz majors can be taught by the classical teachers. And that's one of the main decisions, strategic decisions that he made that put it comfortably within a school in which you would have thought there'd be headwinds to create such a program.
Baker developed a curriculum and a way to test it. And Baker developed a deep connection with his students.
Before that, it was very much an oral tradition. It's more the mentorship type. I'll show you how it goes and you copy it off one-on-one. But this made it possible to be taught anywhere, all over the world.
And Baker developed a deep connection with his students.
He was ever encouraging, ever encouraging. They felt supported by him in everything they did. And I think you can see, and we'll see now in the weeks ahead, remembrances by the students that will outline moments in their life where they doubted themselves. And then David then would get them back into believing in themselves. And if he could be there, he would be there. Because for him, it was about showing up.
His environment at Indiana University gave him the opportunity to learn not only from his students, but also his colleagues, who in many cases were the best in the world on their particular instruments. His first commission came from famed violinist Joseph Gingold. Soon, Janos Starker followed, Jim Campbell, Harvey Phillips, and the Beaux-Arts Trio. His colleague, Menachem Pressler, used a movement from Baker's Boogie Woogie Piano Trio Roots 2 in his classical concerts. Baker's career was marked by the seamlessness with which he blended jazz and classical elements, and by his prolific rate of composition. More than 2,000 works commissioned by more than 500 individuals and ensembles, ranging from the New York Philharmonic to the African-American a cappella group, the Fisk Jubilee Singers. Baker was nominated for a Pulitzer Prize in 1973, and a few years later for a Grammy. Baker's legacy will continue to live on worldwide, not just through generations of prominent working musicians, but also in all of those who continue to use his materials to learn how to teach jazz. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Sarah Whitmire.
Baker is survived by his wife, Lyda, a flautist with whom he recorded many times, one daughter and a granddaughter. And now it's time for our History Through Headlines segment. It was 1925. Calvin Coolidge was president. The Great Gatsby was published for the first time. And a weather phenomenon would leave a trail of devastation across the Midwest. The headline reads, "Horror and Tragedy in the Wake of the Tornado." It is the largest tornado ever recorded. The tri-state tornado of 1925 traveled more than 200 miles. It touched down in southeast Missouri and traveled all the way through Illinois to the western edge of Pike County in Indiana.
Witnesses have described this tornado as a big black boiling cloud. They never seen anything like it.
The tornado moved at 60 miles per hour and spanned as much as a mile in diameter.
Back in 1925, it was a lot of farmhouses, and mostly out of wood. And you consider that a tornado like that's picking up trees, it's picking up dust and gravel. I'm sure most of the roads were gravel at that time. That's a lot of stuff traveling at 300 miles an hour through that tornado.
Nearly 700 people died and more than 2,000 were injured. It destroyed 15,000 homes before it finally slowed down and dissipated. It may have seemed unstoppable.
Well, let's say you're a race car at the Indianapolis 500. I mean, you can only go so fast for so long until you run out of gas. So,
Indiana has seen many large tornadoes since 1925. The last fatal tornado was in 2012 in Henryville. And finally tonight, it's not your typical French Lick spa experience. 3 African elephants will be getting pampered in French Lick until October. This isn't the first time the elephants have come to vacation in French Lick at Wilston Ranch. This year, they were welcomed back with a new barn and a bigger pasture. Visitors can touch the elephants, watch the elephants, and yes, even bathe the elephants. It looks like, though, Barbara, that it's a little bit more of a shower than maybe a bath.
Yeah, you know, they get their toes painted as well.
No.
April Fool's, Joe.
Oh,
Come
stop.
on.
You
I
got
had to
me.
get
You got me.
sometime. I had to get you sometime.
That's the end of this program, but our work continues online as we cover the news throughout the week at WTIUnews.org. Have a great weekend.
Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by the following: IU Health Southern Indiana physicians, primary care and specialty care providers, now accepting new patients in Bloomington and throughout South Central Indiana. siphysicians.org, IU Center for Applied Cybersecurity Research, working to improve cybersecurity and provide policy guidance through partnerships with industry, government, and academia.
Smithville Fiber, the Gigacity Company, fiber internet, HD, and digital IPTV in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com.
And by WTIU members. Thank you.